is it? What time is it? An adult in the house. An adult in the house. What time is it? What time is it? An adult in the house. An adult in the house.
Welcome to Three the Hard Way Sports Podcast from three guys who talked sports together over lunch for over 10 years, probably eating a Fudgy the Whale.
We are the Bears, shuffling crew, shuffling on down, doing it for you. We're so bad, we know we're good, blowing your mind like we knew we would. You know we're just...
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Three the Hard Way Sports Podcast, episode number 38. I'm Bryan Galloway here with, from Rumson, New Jersey, Alex Shanley. How are you, Alex?
I'm doing great, Bryan. You know, really enjoying the basketball and the Knicks and all they're doing, but we're talking Super Bowl tonight, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and the Knicks are having a lot of fun right now. The Knicks are a wonderful team, and the city's behind them, and there's nothing like New York basketball. And we also have, from parts unknown, we have Michael Pipersick. How are you, Michael?
Doing all right, Bryan. Excited to talk about the Super Bowl, the big game at last.
There we go, the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
The team that none of our teams are in there this year, but we're...
Not a surprise.
Okay, so who wants to talk first? I mean, there's a lot of intriguing things going on. I don't know if we want to talk about, Mr. Irrelevant or I would rather not talk that much about Taylor Swift, but we might have to a little bit.
Let's start with the Pat Mahomes hate.
Okay.
Like how is everybody hating this guy? Already. I get Tom Brady, you're winning 6 with the same team, and then you go and win a 7th, and you're married to a model. I get how people don't like that. But Pat Mahomes, okay, his wife's a little goofy, his brother's off the rails, but
and his dad just got his 4th DWI.
It's his 3rd. But why is there hate on Patrick Mahomes? He just goes out there and wins games, and he's got a great relationship with the coach.
Because he's a little bit of a crybaby. Now, to tell you the truth, I like Pat Mahomes, and I enjoy watching him. And you gotta, he gets a lot done with crummy receivers, but he's a crybaby, and a lot of people, even my kids, even say that, and they say, "Oh, he's such a crybaby."
Name a quarterback in the NFL that's not a crybaby. I mean, Tom Brady. If a guy brushed his shoulder pad, was looking at the referee like, I just got clobbered in the head with a baseball bat, right? Josh Allen's getting knocked over. He's immediately sitting up with his arms in the air. They're all prima donnas because they all want the calls now, and they're giving them the calls, right? But I just don't get the Pat Mahomes hate. I don't know. I'm rooting for him.
He makes games exciting. You have to say, when the Chiefs are playing most teams, I will root for the Chiefs because I like Mahomes. I like Andy Reid. I really do. I like those guys a lot. And I used to like Kelsey, but now this Taylor Swift stuff he's getting to be annoying now.
But this is what the NFL wants, right? They want quarterbacks. They want everything to be on them. They want offense. All these rules against the defense. And then all these quarterbacks get raised up, and then everybody just tries to beat them down. It's maddening. Jalen Hurts was the same thing last year, and I don't know. I'm a Pat Mahomes fan. I think he's great for the game. He does it without, the greatest receivers, and he wants the ball in his hands, and he performs in the biggest moments. And
I don't know why. I don't know why people dislike him. I mean, it's funny because that's an organization that a lot of people always liked. It's not an organization, people don't hate the Chiefs. Maybe if you're a Raider fan, that's a different story. But besides that, I don't know. I really don't know.
I think it's, 4 Super Bowls in 6 years for the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason, because there's no reason to dislike that guy. He seems like a cool guy. He's married to his college sweetheart. He's got a couple of kids. People were making fun of him on social media. I guess he was shirtless in the locker room, and they started making fun of his dad bod. And he's like, "What? I got kids." slinging sidearm passes. His helmet cracks in a game. He seems like a super team guy. Remember, was it last? Yeah, last year he was hobbled with that really bad ankle. He guts it out. I mean, he's like Alex said, everything the NFL wants. Like he doesn't get in trouble, and he's got that knucklehead brother, but he's like everything the NFL wants. I mean, he's incredible, and I couldn't believe that. Like this season was the first time he played on the road in the playoffs. That's an amazing stat for
Yeah,
him
that
too.
was crazy. That
And
was crazy.
I started watching that Netflix series Quarterbacks, and I've only seen like a little bit of the season. And I started watching the early in the second episode. They're talking about Pat Mahomes because he goes back to Texas Tech, where they were putting him in the Ring of Honor there. And so he's giving a little bit of his background. He didn't even start playing quarterback until like his junior year in high school because he was a baseball player like his dad. So that's an even better story. Junior year of high school is when he starts playing quarterback in high school, and now he's people are already talking about him potentially being the greatest quarterback of all time and potentially
He
catching
could be, and
Tom.
he's very intelligent too, and that's another
Yeah,
thing that you don't realize. He's super intelligent. He can read. He reads defenses very well and quickly, and he makes really good decisions. He has to because he has bad receivers. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, they
You
are
know,
awful. Like
Tyree. He lost Tyreek Hill, and you would think after after he loses Tyreek Hill, he's nothing's going to happen. Look at what they're doing. They're still he's making it. I don't even know half these receivers that they have.
yeah, other than Travis Kelsey, it's who Rasheed Rice has been their best receiver. They have all these cast offs. They got Kadarius Tony, flipping out on social media at people. He hasn't played in a couple of weeks. I mean, they have that guy Valdez Schilling, Sintling, whatever his name is. That used to be
Yeah,
on the Steelers. I mean, they are cast offs. I mean, it's really Kelsey's the only reliable receiver he's got, and he
and
keeps
you would think
winning.
that he gets double teamed. And the thing, and that's another thing too about him is, people can say what they want about Kelsey. Again, the Taylor Swift thing is annoying to me, but he he's double teamed every time,
And he's
every
and he
time.
somehow gets open. He
I
somehow
know.
gets open. Like it's 3rd and 12, and somehow he gets himself completely wide open. So it's like that's him, right? That's Patrick Mahomes who can throw the ball at all these different angles, which he's the first guy I remember doing that. And now a lot of quarterbacks do that. So he's almost like revolutionizing the position with those weird angles he throws from. And they've got a new play caller right after Bieniemy left. I mean, there's been all this change in this team, and here they are again in the Super Bowl. I think it's an incredible story, and I don't understand why people don't like this guy either, other than he keeps on winning. Well, that's his job.
No, he's his job, and I think it's good for football, like Alex said. Alex said that very true. The NFL wants that. You want a face of the NFL to be a good person, to not be a troublemaker, to be that type of person. He is.
Yeah,
He's exactly what they want.
Right. And they have a great coach, Andy Reid does a great job, and that's why Kelsey's open all the time because these receivers are
yeah.
running these crazy routes that, create space in the middle of the field. And, he's got it down, just like the Patriots had it down when they were winning. This something that I thought about the last couple of weeks was think about like the Super Bowl and AFC teams, right? Like you always get these teams that are on runs. You never really get that in the NFC. You probably have to go back to, I guess, the Vikings, but you know, the Bills were in it 4 years in a row. The Patriots were in it like what for however many times, 11 times, and now it's the Chiefs. It's almost like it's handed from one dynasty to the next in the AFC. Whereas in the NFC, it's always new teams battling to get there, and then they may win. What the Cowboys maybe were the last they won 3 times in what 4 years or 5 years. So
Mhm.
it just seems strange that the AFC always produces these kind of super teams that sustain excellence over many years, and whether it's a formula they put together. I mean, I think the Bills really they just dominated the league. They just had all the best talent at every position. Never were able to win it, but when you look at it now, it's like the Patriots are handing it off to the Chiefs, and they're just going to dominate for however long. And the NFC just the teams beat each other up all year, and then the best team gets there, and sometimes they beat them, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, they're not going away. They're not going. And again, I'm not even. I don't really see many other teams in the AFC that can actually dethrone them. I mean, I don't. the Bills I thought had a chance, but the Bills they're going to be decimated this year. They're going to lose a lot of players.
Well, I think their division is going to get much better, right? Like Denver's going to get better,
Yep,
right?
good
They're
coach.
going in the right direction with Sean Payton, I think.
I think so
The
too.
Chargers are going to be better with Harbaugh, as much as it pains me to say it because I'm not a Harbaugh fan, but he's going to make them better. And I think the Raiders are going to get better with, it seems like they really want to
Yes.
play for Antonio Pierce. So the division's not getting any easier. Like the Patriots always had a pretty easy time in their division. But, I don't think that the Chiefs are going to have that luxury over the next 3 or 4 years. I think it's going to get much more difficult for them.
We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see. Well,
agree.
okay. So so what do you think? Let's talk about the Super Bowl now. We're here. The biggest, so the most important thing before we start is Gronk going to make the kick this year?
Yeah, what is that? I totally missed that last year. He missed the field
Yeah,
goal
oh, he
last
missed
year.
it by yeah, missed it by a mile. Yeah,
So what? And you could bet on this. You could
yeah,
bet
you can
on
bet on it. Yep.
how
Which
long
is
of a field
nuts
goal is it?
because he can just miss, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Right? Like,
Well, you can bet on him to miss too.
That's what I'm saying. Like he could say to his college buddy, "Hey man, I'm gonna miss, so you
yeah,
know
I was
put a
thinking
grand on it."
myself.
I don't
Like, what
know.
does he get out? What does he get out of it if he makes the field goal?
I
I
have
don't
no.
know. They're probably paying him a ton of money. I don't know.
Yeah,
Him and John Cena, because you saw the commercial. John Cena was supposed to do it, and then Gronk decided to do it instead. First Gronk wasn't going to do it this year. Then he changed his mind because John Cena was going to do it, but um, now
interesting.
Gronk's
See, if
back
it was
doing it.
if it was John Cena, I would bet that he would miss it by a mile for
I know,
sure.
I know, I know.
I would think so.
Yeah, no way.
I say
Gronk.
Gronk misses.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to bet. I'm going to bet on it because I do a lot of prop bets at the Super Bowl is the time of year I do prop bets, and I will bet. Last year I bet and he missed, and I bet him to miss. So I won
Is
like
he
five
doing
bucks.
this at the Super Bowl or at a offsite
Outside, it's
location?
no, it's someplace next door or something like that. I don't know. Someplace.
So like
I
in
don't
an
think he's
empty
doing it.
stadium?
He's not doing it in the arena. No,
What's it, like a 40-yarder?
I don't remember.
Hmm.
But okay, so that's so. And also, who do you think is going to win the coin toss?
I say that the 49ers win and they defer.
Okay, that's kind of That would I think whoever wins is going to defer. Because you want
Interesting.
the ball in the second half, especially after the Super Bowl, because you have that long halftime. People
Yeah,
get tired, so if you get the
Yeah.
ball back, you
Yeah.
can probably pounce on them.
Hmm.
So I think that would be pretty wild if that happened. Yeah, those are two of the best prop bets. The coin flip because you have no idea what's going to happen there. 50-50. It's not and you do that. Those are great prop bets. I I will do that. I'll do like who's going to be the MVP. That's always a good one. Who's going to score the first touchdown? All those kind of things. I try to figure that out and try. Again, if the coin flip, if the 49ers get the coin flip and they defer, then you definitely want to pick like Kelsey to get the first touchdown
Hmm.
because because Mahomes will go slinging in the first quarter. But you never
yeah.
know. You never know.
And it seems like the Chiefs have really moved the ball very well early in the game. Like all their games in the playoffs, they've moved the ball pretty well, and they score early, and then they play defense to hold on and win. And it'll be interesting to see if Purdy can handle that pressure of that defense with Chris Jones and all those monsters
Yeah.
coming after him all game.
Now, what do you think about Purdy, Mike? Mike, you start. What do you think about Purdy?
It's such an incredible story to me. It's so fascinating. The last pick in the draft, right, Mr. Irrelevant, he's sitting behind Jimmy Garoppolo was still there, right? And then they drafted Trey Lance. They traded a boatload of picks to get Trey Lance, and then Trey Lance gets hurt when he is anointed the starter. Brock Purdy comes in, and you're thinking, all right, last pick in the draft, how good can this guy be? He's been very good. He was in the running for MVP. Everyone says Lamar is going to win the MVP. He's been really solid. Um, I guess part of it's the system, right? Kyle Shanahan's another great offensive mind. That offense has a ton of players, so I feel like there's less pressure on Brock Purdy, but In big spots against the Packers, he led them on a late drive to win that game. I mean, in a playoff game, that's a lot of pressure, and he came through. And then against the Lions, down 24-7, rallies them in the second half. And he got himself out of trouble a couple of times where I thought he was going down, and he was able to make some plays with his legs to keep them in the game, pulled it out. So it's a great story, and it's a great dynamic when you compare, Patrick Mahomes, son of a Major League Baseball player in his fourth Super Bowl in 6 years against Mr. Irrelevant. It's a great story, but and Brock Purdy has stepped up in these difficult situations, high pressure situations, but I feel like the Super Bowl's got to be a different level. So I feel like they'll run plays to kind of ease him into the game to kind of get the butterflies out of the way. But I mean, it's a great story. I'm very curious how good would Brock Purdy be like if he was on another team, right? Can you plug anybody into that system? It kind of seems that way a little bit with the 49ers. But a great story. But yeah, he's a fascinating player, and he's solid. He's a great college player. But yeah, I'm curious to see how he performs. I would think he'd be a little bit nervous and maybe potentially struggle, but I mean, I was stunned that he rallied them against the Lions at 24-7. I was like, oh, this is where the wheels fall off, and he responded big time.
Yeah, I
No,
just
go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, he's gonna. This is a great defense, right? The Chiefs are an average offense with a great defense this year, so it'll be interesting to see how he handles that pressure, Mike. I think that's a good
Mhm.
point. And I think that the idea of the system, like, it's true, right? Like, you have to have a great system, but to me, that equates to a great head coach and a great offensive coordinator
Mhm.
that run it for you, right? Like, the Rams had a great system when Stafford stepped in. That's all they needed to win. And the Patriots had a great system. And the 49ers with Montana had a great system. Like, it is a great system because that's what it is. And then you
Yeah.
look at teams that are bad and you're like, well, they don't have a system. They don't know what they're doing. Well, or maybe they have a system, but they're just not good at running it, right? Or they just can't
Yeah.
do it. So, to me, a quarterback's a quarterback's a quarterback. You put them in there, and whether they're a game manager or, a gunslinger, I just think, when Brock Purdy needed to make completions, he made completions. When he needed
Yeah.
to run the ball, he ran the ball. And he's doing everything you want. And I think Shanahan said, let's get rid of Lance and all these guys because I don't want to pay the money. Let's give the money to Debo Samuel. Let's give the money to, you know, uh,
McCaffrey,
um, yeah, McCaffrey and who was the lineman they got?
Bosa, and Chase Young. Yeah, there's a lot of guys
Yeah,
there.
right. So it's just like, and they don't have to spend the money on the quarterback. And as soon as they do, everything goes to hell. And the question will be, are they going to give Purdy a big contract, or are they going to say, you know what? I think we can do it with another guy. I think they'll give him the money, but I think they should think seriously about just saying, can we find another great quarterback that it
Well,
may
they got
take.
Sam Darnold. They have Sam Darnold. Come on.
Yeah, who performed okay when he had to play.
No, no. I mean, again. So here's my question to you guys, and this is a very. I want you to think about this a little bit. Okay. So let's say we're playing fantasy football, and we decide, okay, we're going to pick the rosters of these two teams, right? So you have Mahomes, you have Kelsey, but then you go to the 49ers, and you have McCaffrey, you have Kittle, you have Samuel. Which team do you think has more relevant fantasy players? Because that's interesting to me because I look at this. To me, the 49ers seem to have more weapons.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Ayuk, they have Ayuk as well. To
Yeah.
me, I had Mahomes in a fantasy league this year, and he was terrible. He was terrible. He was like a 13 to 15 point because they didn't put up a lot of points this year.
No, they
They
didn't.
weren't a
Yeah.
prolific offense. So I would say based on this year, the 49ers easily because I think Purdy may have outscored Mahomes in most fantasy leagues.
And
Most of them.
McCaffrey is a monster.
Yeah.
Even though Kelsey didn't have that great a year as he normally
No,
does either. Either did
no.
Kittle though. I mean, both Kittle and Kelsey were not up to their normal things, but Debo Samuel is awesome.
Yeah,
and McCaffrey is amazing. So
yeah.
yeah, I agree. It's
And
interesting.
Ayuk's a good flex pick.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, he's a good player
Um,
too.
yeah, and but you know who did really well? I had him as well. Is Rasheed Rice. The second
Yes,
half of the
yes.
season,
Mhm.
he put up huge points every, and actually put up like 14 or 15 in the championship game for me. So um, he was a good pick on the
So
Chiefs side.
no, he is. He is a good player. Good player.
Isaiah
But
wasn't bad either.
so
Isaiah
but it's just a matter of like the household names are on the 49ers,
agreed.
more or less. Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
very dynamic offense. Yeah, exciting to watch.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fun game. I am like for Purdy, I'd love to see him do well. I do want him to do well. I don't want Mahomes. I want it to be a good game. I want it to be a high scoring game. Everybody has, have a gunslinging all over the place, and then have a a close ending. That'll be fun because I don't have anything invested in either of these teams.
Yeah. Trent Williams was the other guy I was trying to think of that they paid on offense. The offensive lineman that they picked up,
Okay.
what,
Mhm.
2 years
Oh,
ago.
okay,
He's a
okay.
monster. He's like best offensive lineman in the league. And it was funny because when he was out, I think he was out for 2 or 3 games. The 49ers were terrible in all those games. And then he came back. So it just goes to show you how important your left tackle is. And,
Mhm.
Daniel Jones getting killed this year with the Giants with, Andrew Thomas out all those games. You just look at any team, if they lose their left tackle, it's just such a big deal. And, the Chiefs went out and rebuilt their whole offensive line after that Super Bowl where they were all hurt, and Mahomes was running for his life all game. So I think that's been a big reason for their success this year as well. As offensive line helping them out, and San Francisco has a great offensive line as well. So I think both of those factors are going to play into the game. If San Francisco's offensive line can keep Brock Purdy in the upright position and tame Chris Jones and the Chiefs and Spagnuolo with all his crazy calls on defense, I think the 49ers would win, but I really think it's going to be a defensive game, and I think the Chiefs are gonna play better defense, and I think the Chiefs are going to win, but it's going to be low scoring.
So what's your prediction score and MVP? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first just because I just said what I said. So if I'm going to say the Chiefs are going to win, then that means Pat Mahomes is going to be the MVP because the quarterback always gets it. It seems, and I'll say the score is going to be 21-17
Hmm.
Chiefs.
21-17. Okay. Mike?
Alex went first, and he made a lot of great points because I feel the same way. I was going back and forth with, who do I think is going to win? And I do think the Chiefs are going to win also. 49ers dodged bullets in both of their games, right? If the Packers had scored touchdowns on either of those first two drives, they could have beaten the 49ers. They played a really solid game. Jordan Love threw a couple picks, one late. And then the Lions, 24-7 up at the half. Dan Campbell does what he does, right? He's always gambling. Went on fourth down twice in the second half when they were in field goal range, and that kind of cost him the game. Had like a bounce off of defensive backs face mask to Brandon Ayuk. Jameer Gibbs fumbles on the next drive. A lot of fluky things I feel like went the 49ers way to help them get here. And I just think the Chiefs defense has been tremendous this season. And what they did against Baltimore in Baltimore, I thought was really impressive. Spags had this great game plan. He had Lamar Jackson on the run the whole game, and I feel like he's going to orchestrate something here against Brock Purdy. And I'm always of the mind that the team with the better defense is going to win the game, and I feel like the Chiefs' defense is a little bit better. So I think it's also going to be a low scoring game similar to that. So kind of like a 24-21 game for the Chiefs. And I think Alex is spot on, right? It's always the quarterback. So Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. I would love for it, though, to be Isaiah Pacheco. That would be awesome. Rutgers guy. He's been
Jersey.
playing really well in the playoffs, too, averaging like over 20 carries a game. And he runs so hard. I would love to see him be the MVP, but I think it falls to Patrick Mahomes, which would be his third MVP, I guess, right? If he wins. Yeah.
So, Brad, before you answer,
Go
do
ahead.
you think the 2 weeks between the championship games and the Super Bowl helps the offense or the defense more?
Defense, the defense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and that's why Belichick was always so good in the Super Bowl because you give Belichick 2 weeks to
Yep.
really, and that's why you think about it. He spent the time with the Giants, and the Giants ended up still beating him, and that makes it even to me. It's even more of an as much as I hate to admit it, it's more of an important victory that the Giants were able to do that because Belichick made sure he knew everything that was going on in any team, and he does that. So here they're gonna be close. But again, both of these defenses are good.
Yeah.
So it's not like one's. I think that this is the best Chiefs defense of any Super Bowl team, but it's the worst offense.
Yeah, I
With
agree.
the 49ers, they have a darn good defense too. So that's going to be very interesting to me. Now my predictions are 31-28 49ers. Now
Whoa,
and now
49.
I'm going to tell you
All
in my
right.
mind I'm thinking how do you bet against the Chiefs? But I like to root for the underdog. So I'm going to say um, and I'm going to say McCaffrey is probably going to be the MVP. But the one thing I am going to say is if Purdy, because I have a feeling they're going to go after Purdy. Purdy gets hurt and Sam Darnold comes in and plays great. That's what I'm hoping to see happen, just to bust on the Jets too, because I would love to see that for that poor guy. For all the junk that he's gone through in his career, or just to get him to see him play, and do something good in the game. I would love to see that, but I don't think it's going to happen. That's as a Jet fan, and I always think Darnold. They just did Darnold wrong. Just to see him do something would be cool. But I don't want Purdy to get hurt. I have a feeling that the 49ers are going to figure out a way to pull this out.
Hmm.
If it's a close game, I do worry about Mahomes though. Just like last year, my goodness, you give like the last year, I would have sworn the Eagles had it, and you just can't give him an inch because Mahomes will just figure out a way to win. So they're going to have to really do something to keep them out of getting to that point where you give him another chance to come back. So I'll be curious to see what happens.
A prop bet, Mike and
Yeah,
Brian. Do you think Nick Bosa gets hurt in the game?
he gets hurt every game. Yeah,
I heard
Yes.
that way, right? And his brother too.
yeah,
Like every big game you watch, they go hobbling off the field.
yeah. They're very muscular. They're overly muscular, and that's a problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that happens. These guys, they're sitting there messing around, and they're way stronger than any of us ever were in our life, um, and they pull muscles that we don't even have.
Yeah.
So and no, but I like him too. He's a good player. He's tough. I like Fred Warner too a lot. The linebacker on. I mean, he's good.
He's
Yeah, and
good.
the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs secondary a lot. They're tough. Um, that's another thing too. I kind of worry we might see a couple interceptions on each side. I know neither of the quarterbacks really throw a lot of interceptions, but we might see some turnovers in this game because again they do both have good defenses and there's a lot going on, and you're in a strange arena, and the crowd is not really into the game as much. That's another thing about the Super Bowl is the crowd. There's no home field advantage because the crowds, especially like in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of I don't know what kind of crowd that's going to be.
A drunk crowd.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's another question for you. Now, this is another very good one here, and I'll tell you what I will tell you is this. So the only Super Bowl I ever went to. There was a year the Jets had a chance to get to the Super Bowl. My parents got tickets. I went down to Miami, and the Jets lost to Denver. And so the Super Bowl was Denver Atlanta, probably the worst Super Bowl ever. And I went to that Super Bowl. Now, the night before the Super Bowl, the defensive player for the Falcons, I forget his name, was one of the.
Eugene Robinson.
Oh
He got
yeah.
caught with a transvestite prostitute the night before the Super Bowl.
He
Now,
was the he was the NFL Man of the Year,
yeah.
and
So
then it happened.
that killed them. That killed them right there. They were a mess, and the Falcons were shot. Now, the thing about that is, what kind of a coach is it that doesn't have everybody check in the night before they get okay, everybody, it's the Super Bowl. Make sure you're in bed by 10 o'clock. Don't goof around. This is not the night. Do that another night. Don't do it the night before the
Yeah.
Super
But
Bowl.
Bri, these are grown men.
Well, So okay, so now, so the reason why I'm
Are
bringing this
they?
up, guys. Okay, why am I bringing this up, guys? Las Vegas,
I
right?
know.
What do you think? You think that we're going to hear anything about this from in Las Vegas? Anything going on?
The players are not allowed in the casinos.
Yeah, but it could be down at the Chicken Ranch or something like that. Who knows what they're going? Where they're going?
Very true. Very true.
Now,
But yeah,
last year, you'll recall, guys were slipping all over the field. Remember that there were all these
yeah.
issues. Have there been any concerns with that, with the playing surface for the Super Bowl? Because I heard that the 49ers were practicing at UNLV, maybe. I think they were practicing at UNLV, and they were complaining about the practice surface
It was
there.
too soft. They said it was too soft,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
and then the Chiefs have been using the Raiders practice facility, so they're good. But I guess they put down like new sod for the Super Bowl or something. So I'm curious what the playing surface is going to be like for the game, because if it's at all slippery, then I think 100% Bosa gets hurt. So,
Well, it's funny because people on the internet, looking for all the conspiracies are saying that. But last year, it's because they get to practice at the Raiders facility because it's an AFC
yeah,
home
exactly.
game.
Of course.
And last year, it was an NFC home game, and the Chiefs had to practice at a local stadium that was like natural grass and not turf or something. And the Eagles got to practice on all the good stuff. And
Mhm.
so, who knows? People just look for conspiracies.
Well, I just hope that there's nothing that impacts the game, and there's not a bunch of big time uh, bookies and stuff, trying to pay off some of these players so they do something wrong during the game. Like I just don't want that to happen. I still worry. The whole thing about Las Vegas and sports, I've been to Las Vegas. I went over the last year, and it's a shady place. I'm sorry. You could say people say what they want. Oh, it's got a lot of cool things. It is a shady town,
If
right?
they had to pay off a player, take the quarterback out of it because they could never pay him enough
Yeah,
to throw the game. That would be the most logical. Who do
like
you
a special
think?
team player. It'd be like a special team player or something like that.
What
Who like
about a defensive back who would just let a receiver, he just
oh
had a bad game and the receiver caught 2 touchdowns on him.
yeah, probably could.
Yeah, slipped
Yeah.
and fell, right? He slipped and fell, or yeah.
But the thing is, they're gonna find out eventually that this happened. Like it never,
Oh yeah.
they always find out because
Yeah.
then somebody slips up and they always find out about this stuff. So
Nobody have 30 on it.
I'm yeah, I don't know. I don't know what could happen, but I just don't like to me, like so here it is. You have what 60 players on each roster in the town of Las Vegas. They're not allowed to gamble again, even though I don't believe that they're not finding ways to gamble. They're probably calling people to their suites to dealers to their suites to do things, but they're there's no way that you can escape that town and not gamble. It's just like there's nothing else you could do there. I mean there are a lot of things to do in that town, but they're there for like what a week and a half, 10 days.
Yeah.
Right.
They're going to be bored out of their minds, right? And I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something, guys. I don't know. Who knows? But
It is still shocking to me how Las Vegas was so off limits for sports, right? No team is going to be there, and you've got the Raiders are there, the Super Bowl is there, the NBA in-season tournament was there, the Oakland A's are moving there, an NBA team is going to be there. Everybody's talking about like, oh,
the hockey team that won the championship are there,
yeah,
right?
Knights. I mean, it's bananas to me, right? And then you have like you go on ESPN. I'm watching a game on ESPN. They're talking about the in-game line, like, and then players get busted for gambling. I'm like, you guys are talking all the time about gambling.
Yeah.
I
Do
don't
as
get
I
it.
say, not as I do. That's what it is,
Yeah, I guess right. It's all about money because
Yeah.
It's all about the Benjamins. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
And
But think about it too. They've basically made the decision. They know it's going to happen, but they've made the decision. There's more money to be made until it happens, and there'll be more money to be made after it happens, and we'll deal with it when it happens. But it's going to happen.
Well,
You
like
know,
last year, Calvin Ridley got suspended because he was betting on games, right?
yeah.
And he's a sought after free agent this year. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole because how do you know he's not doing it again?
Well, he had a good season. He played this past season. He
Right,
played
but
for
he
the
dropped
Texans.
he dropped big passes. There's always going to be the question when
Yeah.
those guys do things like, oh, look, he dropped that. Oh, he's probably had a bet on the game. That's going to happen. I don't know. It bothers me. But again, I really don't care who wins. In reality, either team wins, I'll be happy. I have nothing invested in this game. Those are always fun to watch because I want to watch a good game and have fun, and I'll do my prop bets and I'll pick my boxes and I'll try to win some money. But that's it. I'm not really going to be stressed out. If the Jets were playing, I would not be able to pay attention. I'd be so nervous the whole time.
Right. You have no worries about
I
that.
know, I
Yeah,
know that'll never
I
happen
don't
again.
care about that. Now,
I
how
know.
excited are you for the halftime show, Brian? I know this halftime show is right up your alley. Not like Rihanna, not like The Weeknd. This is your halftime show, right?
Wait, who is playing at halftime?
Oh, don't pretend you don't know.
Usher. I know Usher. I know there's a couple songs I like of Usher. I can't. I don't hate him. Um, yeah, but I mean, it could be. I don't know. I mean, they just always pick rotten halftime show. We'll see what happens. I mean, you think it'll be good?
I'm not a big Usher fan.
Yeah, I won't even watch it.
I
I watched
really,
the
I
commercials.
really liked when The Weeknd did the halftime show
Yeah,
because
he
I
did a
like,
very good job. The Weekend
yeah,
did a good job, and I
and I
love
thought,
the rap one. The rap one was great.
yeah, that was in SoFi. Yep, with
Yeah,
Dr. Dre and
Eminem. Yeah, that was
Eminem.
just great. That was
That
just
was
wonderful.
good. And I thought Rihanna was great. That was last year that Rihanna
Yeah,
performed.
Rihanna did a very good job.
She was
Yes.
great. But they
She
used to have like the Rolling Stones. They're terrible. But I was like, Usher? I don't know.
I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah. Plus, I've never forgiven Usher for how he treated Chili from TLC. So
Yeah. TLC would have been a good one, except for they're not all alive anymore. They.
would be TC, I guess, right?
Yeah, I know.
It's
I
got to
know.
be hard, right, to pick the right act because I mean, the people that are on tour and making all the money, they don't necessarily want to do it, but because do you get paid? I don't even know if you get paid that much, or they try to get people because you get such a boost in
Yeah, it's like free
you
free
score whatever
advertising,
you
right?
do.
Yeah.
But think about like trying to pick that act, right? Like it's got to be somebody that is cross generational, and they can't be kind of new. Like I'm surprised The Weeknd got it because he was so new, and it can't be somebody so new that 10 years from now you may look back and be like, why did that guy ever get it? Like he had one album and that was it, or one
Bruno
song.
Mars.
But it's just interesting to why don't they pick like Fish or Dead and Company or
Well, and we just, and I hate to,
The plume of
we,
smoke would hang over the stadium that the players would be high the entire second half. It would be a mess.
well,
well,
yeah, but you want somebody that, because you have to go across generations, right? So we just went to see, and again, the we saw Earth, Wind and Fire and Lionel Richie, and I had it was a wonderful evening. They were awesome. But Lionel Richie, to me, I forgot how many songs this guy has.
were
I
you
mean,
dancing on the ceiling, bro?
I was really. Actually, I was pretty much. There wasn't one song that he played I didn't know,
Yeah.
and it was just amazing because he played all the Commodore stuff. Like
Mhm.
to me, that would be a wonderful halftime show
Yeah.
because you could probably a lot of people will like the young people like the songs, the old people like the songs. I That would be a great halftime show.
I don't know
It,
many other people that are going to like Lionel Richie.
really?
30 and under, 40 and under, no way.
I don't know. Yeah, you may be
He
right, but
likes throwing Barry Manilow up there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Who are
If
you
I'm
gonna Who are you
sitting
gonna have?
here,
Who are you gonna have?
It'd be cool if
Eminem,
a doo-wop thing. That would be cool. Like a bunch of
doo
different.
wop. What, like Shana Na? I mean,
I
are
would
they
say,
still alive? Those guys?
I don't know.
Too bad.
It's
Yeah, too bad. C.W. McCall's not alive. We could have him come out and sing Convoy. No, I mean, you could pick some bad people to go out there.
yeah.
But the
yeah, that's
Wiggles, maybe the Wiggles come
Oh,
out and
that's
do a
a good
halftime
one.
show.
has a
It's
co-
got to
has
be
a,
a hard
has a
because
country
A,
act
the number
done
of people that want to do it, and then B, finding that cross generational act that
Yeah.
you're not going to get panned for. Be tough.
Ringo Starr.
His all star band or whatever.
Yeah, I just saw them on. They did something on. I saw some tribute that they did. He could still play, man.
Yeah.
Ringo's still good, but
Do they
I
have?
don't know.
Hey, do they have country acts as the halftime show?
I hope not.
Right? I don't think so. I
Yeah.
guess when they try to
I
find a
that
track
would
that
make
is
that. I
pretty,
turn that right off, man. That's
yeah.
There's some
But
good
it's such a
country.
popular genre, country music, and yet you don't have like a Luke Bryan, for example, as the halftime show. They try to find someone, I guess, that will resonate with as
Billy
many
Ray Cyrus can come out and sing
people
"Achy
as
Breaky Heart."
possible.
Maybe they could have Miley Cyrus come out. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, people love that. Like Taylor Swift, right? I mean, can you imagine if Taylor Swift performed at the Super Bowl halftime show? It'd be incredible.
Come on.
You know
She's
what? Another great one was Bruno Mars. He was
yes,
great.
he was very good.
He was great.
Very good. Very talented guy. He was terrific. That was one of the better ones, and his music is cross generational.
His
A
music
lot of
is
people like his
terrible.
music.
His music is terrible, but it was a good halftime show. I'm not a fan of his music at all, but
Oh
it was a
no.
very good show. He's a good performer.
See, I think Parliament Funkadelic would be another good one, but that would be a. They're getting old too. They're getting really old too. So, but yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think we're ever. No one's ever going to be happy with what you do. You know.
All right, so
Sure.
I looked it up. The last completely country halftime show,
Mm-hmm.
1994.
Whoa, is it Garth Brooks?
Biggest names in country. It was a group. Clint, a bunch of people: Clint Black, Tanya Tucker, Travis Tritt, and Winona Judd.
Whoa, wow,
Oh, yeah,
1994.
I think I went to go vomit at that halftime. That would be terrible.
Brian,
How about you see? Wouldn't it be good? Like I'd like to get like Curtis Blow and maybe
that was a couple years ago.
Eric B and Rakim. No, they didn't. There could have been a little bit deeper. They could have gone a little bit deeper into the roots of rap.
They
You
could
know,
have
Eric
just
B and
Anyone was
Rakim,
entitled to us,
Death Row
Brian.
halftime.
the Booyah Tribe. Like I would say, like all those guys come out. Tribe
Wu-Tang.
Called Quest. Yeah, that would be great. Those guys would be great. You know, and that would be. I just would think that would be cool. But yeah, again, there would be a generation that wouldn't like that, and but people are going to complain no matter what. So
Of course.
that's it. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to a fun night. I think it'll be a good game. I hope it's high scoring. I hope there's some cool things that happen. I hope no one gets hurt. Um, I do hope that, but though I do hope that Sam Darnold gets to play. That would be really cool if he plays and does well. But that would be bad if he plays and does terrible. Then that would be. But just to have a Jet win the Super Bowl because that's the closest we're going to get. Um,
Oh well.
okay, so who do you think? So how many times do you think Taylor Swift will be shown on TV?
Oh wow,
I'll
That's
say
that's a prop bet. Just so you know.
I'll
is there
say
an over under on it?
Yeah, I don't know what it is though, but just pick a number.
8.
wow.
I'm saying 12.
What?
Yes.
They show her a lot, Alex.
Six and a quarter. Six and a half. 6.5.
We're saying like during the game, right? Not before the game or
The
after
kickoff to the end.
to the final. I'm saying 3.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I think you guys you'd be surprised how many it actually is for the big deal people are making of it. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
But see, a lot of people are just turning in to watch. There's a lot of the NFL has gotten a lot of crowd that normally wouldn't watch games
Of
because
course.
of her.
I mean, how many times do they show Spike Lee on a Knick game?
Yeah, I know.
You know?
They don't show him. He just happens to be in the frame all the time.
Yeah, but he's like
He's always
standing
there.
you know, when they're going to break, they show him in the crazy hat and glasses he has on.
I love
He,
him.
he
gotta love
injects
Spike.
himself into the game.
You gotta love Spike. Come on, you gotta love Spike. I have nothing bad to say about Spike. I've always been a big Spike fan.
Right, you went to a net game the other day, Mr. Whammy. They always show him on the camera.
I know. What an idiot. Well, let me tell you. So that's another interesting thing. It's not, here we are. We're talking football, but in a matter of 3 days, I went to the Garden and I went to Brooklyn. It's night and day. You know
Yeah.
the Garden is back rocking right now. It is the place to be. Brooklyn will never be that place. I'm sorry, it's not. It's not gonna. It's not. The acoustics are not there. There's something about the Garden, and again, you see this with the Ranger games more than you see the Knicks. But now it's getting back to it again. When they say defense,
Oh
that
my God.
place rocking,
Yeah.
rocking,
Yeah.
and it is so cool. It reminds me of my childhood when we used to go, and that was where that's what the Garden was. It hasn't been like that since Patrick Ewing time. It really hasn't. And now I think it's even better now. I think this team is so much fun to watch that they need a little bit more. We could talk, this is another episode, what they need, but the trade deadline's in a couple of days. I want them to just pick up another scorer, and I think they're going to be a good team. Again, I still think the Celtics are the team to beat in the East, but the Knicks are right there. The Knicks are
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. I agree. And they would have beat the Lakers when you were there if Brunson didn't have to play 40 minutes. He was just exhausted at the end of the game. He had like 3 turnovers and 2 or 3 bad misses on
Yeah, and
shots.
they also got some rotten calls. I'm sorry.
Well,
Like
they were just double.
LeBron gets so many
Well, they
calls.
right.
It's not. Oh my God. It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
They're
That's
a
another one.
LeBron hater.
I know. I know. I know. Well, okay, guys. So we will recap after the Super Bowl's over. The next come up couple episodes. We're gonna talk about um the baseball. We're gonna talk about how the NBA is shaping up, all the trades. There's a lot of exciting things coming up. One thing we did not review this week was I know Mike's a big fan of the Pro Bowl and all the stupid events that are there. Um, I just think that's a travesty. I think that they should just cancel it. It's the stupidest event in any sport. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's terrible, and I'm just relieved that I did not read that somebody got hurt playing flag football or trying to catch a punt while holding 10 other footballs at the same time. It's totally unnecessary to me. It's just awful. You
Yeah,
have to
to
stop
me,
it.
it should be an award show, and that's it. And all those guys should get to come, and it should be like like a lot of fun things that they get to do off camera, and
Yeah.
just give those guys their due, and give them a nice vacation somewhere, and then build an award show around it where they give like Coach of the Year and all these awards to whoever they need to, and be done with it.
Yeah.
And if they
Yeah,
do it in the city where the Super Bowl is, even those Super Bowl coaches could go if they're going to win something that night. They can make it on an off night and whatever. But yeah, them playing any games is silly.
and watching Tua in the passing accuracy competition, the guy's awful. I'm like, who is this guy? How is he an NFL quarterback? He couldn't even hit the shortest target.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I mean, I can't believe I watched that. I wasted a night watching that. Yeah, there
The
was
one-
nothing else. There was nothing else on, so I turned it on. I'm like, oh look, Tua's up, and he's throwing the football, and he's missing this target, and I'm like, how could he do that? What is he, an NFL quarterback?
Did you see what they had? Supposedly they asked some league execs what they think the Jets could get for Zach Wilson.
What they say?
One guy said, "Well,
Box of popcorn.
he's
Kicking
got a
teams.
good arm and not much else." And then another executive said, 3 nights at a Best Western, that's about as much as I trade for
No.
Zach Wilson. That poor kid, man. Every quarterback that goes to the Jets,
They
talk
get
about
they get ruined. They get ruined. They just don't know what to do. They ruin these guys.
they do.
Um,
And
you
they
know,
keep thinking it's the person. They keep thinking, oh, Zach Wilson wasn't good enough. Sam Darnold wasn't good enough. On and on and on. No, no, no. It's the coaches that are there that there's no organization and system to make these guys successful.
that's exactly the truth. I can't dispute that because I thought Darnold was a darn good quarterback, and there were times he played some great games, and he was awful. And Zach had a couple of games where he played well, but most of the time he played bad. But the thing is, when you saw those good games, you're saying, okay, why aren't they bottling that? Why aren't they looking at that and trying to figure out ways to work towards his strengths? But they would never do that. They never work towards his strengths.
Yeah.
And that's what Darnold too. Darnold had no receivers ever.
No.
I always felt bad for him. He had some of the worst. They picked up guys working at ShopRite, and they say, "Hey, you want to come and catch some balls for the Jets?" It was terrible.
And his coaches were terrible.
Oh yeah. Oh
You
my
know.
goodness. So I mean, whatever. I hope Sam gets a ring. It'll be good. But he's gone through a lot in his career. But I know Zach needs to go to a place like the Rams where he could start from scratch and have a coach that cares about quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing that's going to happen. Or he's going to go to this Canadian Football League and do really well up there. Who knows?
Argonauts.
Yeah. So okay, guys.
All right, man.
So let's everybody enjoy the Super Bowl, and we will talk about it later. And thanks for listening to us.
Don't eat too much. Have a great Super Bowl Sunday.
Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. Okay. Bye.
This is Tom Carvel. Thank you for listening to 3 the Hard Way Sports Podcast. Remember to get a Fudgy the Whale or Cookie Puss for the next time you're sitting down to watch the big game.